Hey there, everybody, and welcome back into the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. My name is Sam Hind, and today I am really pleased and blessed to be able to introduce you to the beautiful Sally-Ann Ferguson, who is co-founder and CEO of InnerOrigin. Now, InnerOrigin is a unique company that was inspired by the direct selling industry. I'm really excited to share this particular interview with you because it left me feeling super inspired. It made me feel super powerful as a woman in business. And I know that everybody listening to this podcast who's feeling maybe a little bit uncertain about yourself, possibly a bit flat given our current times, is going to absolutely love this interview. Sally-Ann shares her journey in business. She shares what inspires her and what keeps her going every day. And she shares some amazing personal philosophies that have helped keep her on track and have helped give her the success that she is achieving every single day. I know that you're going to love listening to Sally-Ann. And I'm really excited to be able to share this particular interview with you. So tune on in. Definitely grab your paper and pen because, as always, loads of amazing golden nuggets. And on top of that, she has shared a very special and exciting offer with all of our listeners. So to find out a little bit more about that, definitely check out the show notes. But for now, I'm going to hand over to our interview. So listen in, enjoy, and we'll see you on the other side. Hey, everybody, and welcome back into the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. I am really privileged and blessed today to be joined by the beautiful Sally-Ann Ferguson. Welcome on in, Sally-Ann.
Hi, Sam. How are you? Thank you so much for having me here today.
I'm very well, and I'm so excited about our chat today. I've obviously had the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, and I can't wait for our listeners to get to know you a bit better as well as we have a bit of a conversation about your journey in your business. But to give everyone a really brief understanding of who you are, you're the co-founder and CEO of InnerOrigin. And I love hearing about this company because it's quite unique, but it was a company that was born inspired by the direct selling industry. But I'm going to hand over to you and let you explain to everyone what that means exactly.
Thank you, Sam. I really appreciate it. And welcome to everyone listening today. Yes, InnerOrigin was born inspired by the direct selling industry. And when I say that, it's because we love so many attributes of the direct selling industry, but there were, I guess, some traditional or older parts of the direct selling industry that we wanted InnerOrigin to innovate on or be ahead of, and also to embrace that more tech side of business and affiliate side of business as well. But what we really loved about the direct selling was, one, that touch, try, feel experience that can happen either in the home or at events. Definitely events because they are building community. And I love that about direct selling, that there's that community, that bond, that support system. Education in the direct selling industry is just mind blowing, whether it be, for us about wellness, but also personal development, all of that across life, business, you name it, that comes out of the direct selling industry is just incredible. And so we really wanted to encompass all of those things that we love so much about it, but we also wanted to be innovative and really be a part of that affiliate marketing space as well, which typically in affiliate marketing, they're not so much embracing the touch, try, feel, play experience, or that broad, those education areas, so passionately. So yeah, we developed InnerOrigin to, I guess, be quite innovative in the space, and it's been an incredible journey.
Awesome. And I've had the pleasure of already hearing this story, but would you like to tell us a little bit about InnerOrigin itself and how it came to be? How did Sally-Ann come to set this business or start this business off?
Yeah, well, InnerOrigin was, I guess, really born especially to be leaders in the wellness industry. We pride ourselves on being at the forefront of innovation around that green technology area. We're predominantly organic, all natural products, but very high performing and very much embracing that sort of high tech side of wellness. And that was really important to me. When I was about the age of 25, my brother was actually diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer. He had over 400 tumors across his kidneys.
Yeah, wow.
And, cutting a very long story short, because we'd be here forever, but it was very rare. Only 4 people in the world had ever had the type of cancer he had. And he had to embrace a lot of, open his mind up to options of, I guess, survival to some degree. Traditional options or traditional medical options were not going to work for him. And so he really opened his mind up to a natural healing side. And I do want to say I'm not making any claims, because everyone's journey is different if they have a chronic illness, and what may work for someone does not work for someone else. And always go by your doctor's advice. For him, he had no choice. And so that was his choice, was to embrace journey. He followed a protocol by the Gearson Institute and under their guidance. And it encompassed like 5 years really to full detoxification. And that took me and our family on a big journey that all of a sudden I'd walk into supermarkets and be looking at product that we had in the house, around him. We could not have like not one nasty toxin or chemical in the house. And I'd be reading labels differently. And all of a sudden I realized that, hang on, even now that I can read labels, gone and done that education, you still don't know exactly what's in products. Like there's
it's scary, right?
loopholes that exist, like the word fragrance. Yeah, so it's a good one for people, because it's something that people are seeing the word fragrance on a lot of items that you use daily, in your personal care. It could be in your deodorants, your skincare, your shampoos, your candles, your perfume, the list goes on and on. And that word fragrance can contain up to 3,000 to 4,000 ingredients that don't have to be listed on the label. So it's protected under trade secret intellectual property law. And in some situations, there's ingredients that are found in the products to be used that have actually been banned in certain countries because they're known to be harmful to human health, or somewhat harmful. And, as consumers, we're still buying these products and we don't really know what's in there. That's just one example. And I was really frustrated by that. I was like, why don't we know everything that's in the products we buy? Like, I couldn't understand why. It was like, at a simple level, we're buying the product, we should have the right to know what's in there, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And I looked around overseas, and we looked around, and I actually came across a non-for-profit organization in the US. It was called the Just Label It Foundation. And millions and millions of dollars have been spent in this organization, this non-for-profit, and they were rallying something called the Dark Act, which was calling for GMO, non-GMO labeling. And they did a sample set across America asking people, do you want truth on labeling, was what they called it. And the percentage came back frightening yes, like well over 80% of people. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm not the only one feeling frustrated. Like, this is a lot of people everywhere. They're like, okay, let's just tell us what's in the products we're buying. And when I looked around at the retail environment, I couldn't really see at that time. I mean, the wellness industry's progressed a lot over the last few years, but at that time I couldn't see really any platform that was majorly curating products and offering that transparency to customers. And so that was the original inspiration behind InnerOrigin, was that we wanted to provide that transparency and that curation, that people were getting products that they knew what they were buying, and we were curating for the best quality we could.
So basically, when someone goes to your website, they know that they're getting products that you've already vetted for them. Is that?
Correct.
That's amazing. And I've been on there and had a little look around, and there is just so much in there. A lot of these websites, you sort of get this small selection of things. You're like, there's nothing there that really covers off what I need, but you guys have just got so much available. And what I think is super exciting is, are you allowed to talk about your new, okay, you do it then. You tell everyone, because I think this is so exciting and something to be so incredibly proud of. So you tell everyone.
Yeah, we're really excited. So over the last, 6 to 12 months, we've been developing behind the scenes, lots of R&D, our own product range, our own InnerOrigin branded products. And so they've literally been releasing over the last 2 weeks. So your timing couldn't be better for us to be chatting. So we have
that wasn't planned, by the way.
It was just perfect
really
timing.
perfect.
Invested in that, won't it? And so we've released our own incredible skincare range that is really advanced, high-tech organics in skincare. It's spa grade, so we wanted to produce something that was above quality of what you'd normally buy off the retail shelf. That's really giving incredible delivery.
Yep.
Transformations we're having in people in like the 2 weeks before and afters are mind-blowing. Like it's really incredible. So I know that we've released something right at the forefront there. We've released our own superfood range, detox programs, and again, really right at the leading edge of results for people. Essential oils we've released cosmetics, we've released bath and body, so like shampoos, conditioners. Yeah.
The list goes on.
Yep. Hand and body lotions. I've got them all behind me here.
Yeah, I could see some things just peeking in behind there, and I was wondering if that's what it was, because last time we spoke, you didn't have them yet. How exciting.
There's our shampoo, hand and body lotion.
Look, it's your babies.
So
oh my gosh, there is heaps there. Look at that.
There's our like skincare ranges, just to give you an idea, and like the bottling and everything's so beautiful.
Oh, it is beautiful. Look at that.
So really high quality, but the prices are not very affordable actually for what you're getting, which is really awesome. Yes, we're very excited.
Wow. So can you just remind me, how old is the company? Because you guys really are a baby, aren't you? You're a toddler.
Just over 4 years that we've been in Australia. And then we started shipping into some countries overseas last year. So we started shipping into Japan, the USA, and we're about to start shipping into Singapore. And actually just opened a local office in Japan, so an office in Tokyo. And warehouse. The product is literally on the plane to there now. Yeah. So, we've made a full commitment there, taken on partners there, which is very, very exciting.
Yep.
So we're really excited about the future. Yeah.
I love it. Now, the thing that gets me particularly excited about this is that you are a woman who went, I'm really passionate about something, this is really important. The rest of the world needs to know about this. And you just went, you know what? I'm going to take the bull by the horns and I'm going to set out and I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to change the world. And it just is so inspiring to hear you telling this story. But I mean, this would have been a journey for you, no doubt, as well. Do you remember the time when you realized, you sort of had that moment where you went, you know what, I think I can do this?
Yeah, definitely. I was fortunate with InnerOrigin. We were founded, with a co-founder and some support team. It was a bit of, some great minds coming together. And, we could just feel that timing was right for what we were doing in terms of the big vision that we had. I think to anyone that would be really daunting. Like, we painted a huge global vision. Yeah. And so in terms of that moment of, I can do this or we can do this, that definitely happened, but it was only a result of so much self-development over the years. I do think even the journey with my brother, like that was a huge test of his belief in himself, his knowing of himself. He kind of really led the way on that mindset side of things. Although I grew up around that, come from a really sort of positive family. My parents have always said to us since we were really little, you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. You can take it however far you want. Like, whatever success you want in what you're doing is yours, but you're going to have to work hard. Yeah. But they always allowed us or encouraged us to think big. And to throw yourself all in the commitment. And so even at a young age, I'd learned the rewards from doing that, that if you do go all in, even if you don't totally make it to the big goal you've set for yourself, there's so much reward along the way that comes from stretching yourself out of that comfort zone. There's so many little micro moments of, wow, I just did that. Or, oh yeah, wow, you look back and you're like, I've grown so much. And that builds confidence. I think that it's a journey in terms of building that confidence muscle. And the thing that I did differently with InnerOrigin that I had never done before was, before we opened it, I said to myself, quitting is never an option. Yeah. Okay. And that was really key. I had never gone into anything before and said that, and I didn't realize the power of it. Yeah. And I did do that with InnerOrigin, and it's been essential.
Yeah. And, you've just said something a moment ago I wanted to touch on, probably one of the greatest pieces of advice that I've heard. And it was only very recently from doing a podcast, in fact, with Oscar Trimboli. And he said, just remember, he actually said this to me off air, but he was referring to my running, but I've really taken it as a really wonderful piece of advice for anything that we're doing, particularly in business, but life. He said, just remember that every now and again, it's not always about looking at where you're going. It's also just, he said, when you're out for a run, turn around and just look at where you came from. Yeah. He said, and just give yourself the credit for where you've got to, because it might be hard to get that next little bit that you've got to go. But when you have got that understanding and that self-pride and self-love and self-appreciation for the fact that you've come this far, and you look back and appreciate and enjoy the journey. And he said, don't forget to enjoy the journey, because we can be so focused on that goal up ahead. And you've just said that you have, these big visions and goals, which are really essential and really important, but we can sometimes get so focused on those that we forget to actually enjoy the journey and the progress as well.
Yeah, it's so true. And you can lose yourself in those big goals, as you said, like you're waking up every morning striving towards something that is quite a long way away.
Yeah.
And that can cause, I don't want to say unhappiness, but the lack of satisfaction, because you're just so focused on this end result.
Yeah.
And to me, I think the big learning out of that is there is no end result. Like if you are a goal setter, you're never going to reach your goals.
No, you're always going to set a new one, aren't you?
Right. So it's more about the micro wins along the way. And yes, you're setting that big vision, and that's great. But I just kind of set it aside. Yes. Look at now and then. Once I've made the decision where the big vision is, you don't have to focus on it every day. It's the little actions that get you there.
Yep.
And you've put out there where you want to go, and trusting that the world delivers the opportunities that are going to help you to get there is really important, because you can cause yourself an unhappy journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
You definitely don't want that, because it is about waking up every day and enjoying it, and just enjoying that you're stretching yourself, and enjoying everything, enjoying the good times, enjoying the problems, and knowing that you chose the journey.
Yep. I love that. Now, if we've got any listeners out there right now that are just wondering, they're woman, man, but we're going to refer to the ladies here right now. Let's just say that there's a woman out there who's never started a business before. She wants to start a business. Do you have a piece of advice you could offer to someone who's feeling that might be them at the moment?
Yeah, I would gather 1 to 2 people that believe in you. Now, there could be thousands that don't. So you might have to filter through a lot, and maybe even your family that don't believe in you. And even if it's a stranger that believes in you, and when you find that person or those persons, tell them what you're doing and say to them, I'm just going to ask one thing of you. I need you to believe in me till I believe in myself.
Oh, I love that so much.
Because once you believe in yourself, the game's over.
Yep.
But that's a journey of its own. And you can think that you believe in yourself, and then when it's really tested, you don't. Yep. And you'll prove to yourself one day just how much you believe in yourself. And that's when your resilience will kick in, or it'll be tested, and you'll go, no, I've got this. And from that point forward, you know that you believe in yourself. You can take on anything. Like the way you wake up to your day is so different, because you know you can handle anything. You trust yourself and believe in yourself that you can handle anything. But until you're at that point, you need someone or someone's that are giving that belief to you, that cheer squad for you.
Oh, so good.
They don't have to understand your industry. They don't have to know any technicalities. They're just that person that's there for mindset, to celebrate the wins with, to say, oh, look, I'm having a bad day, send me a message, keep
me going.
I need to hear I can do this. Because there will be so many things that come along to distract you or test you, and you need to know that if you're not strong enough yet, or you don't believe in yourself enough yet, that someone else has got your back.
Yeah, I love that so much. And it's so real. And, even I can sit here and go, one of the things that has been pivotal to, we just realized the other day, actually, for the first 3 years of business, every year I would celebrate my anniversary, because every year was another year that I had not failed. Every year was another year that I was still going, because everyone said to me, most people that start a business fail in the first they said the first 3 years, then I got to 3 years and they said, actually, it's really the first 5. And I was like, well, you've got to be kidding me. Like I got to 3 and I thought, this is it. I've done it. But we realized the other day, we've actually made it past 6 and we'd stopped counting and we didn't realize. And I just went, do you know why that's happened? It's not because I didn't at any point think I'm not going to be able to do this. There were lots of points I thought I can't do this and I just want to give up. There were multiple times where I went, I just need to go back into the workforce. And it wasn't because of me that I stayed in it. It was like what you just said, Sally-Ann, it was those people around me that went, you are doing something really important here and you need to keep going.
Correct.
And that cheer squad is so pivotal. And by accident, but now deliberately, by accident at the beginning of my business, I didn't have a business partner like you, but I did have a business coach. And it was someone to keep me accountable. And I have maintained that all the way through. That person has changed multiple times due to circumstances over the years, but I really feel blessed that I had accidentally stumbled across the importance of having someone to keep you accountable. And so I just think that's the fact that you've done that deliberately is really powerful. And perhaps some of our listeners might also be able to deliberately do what I think I accidentally did.
Yeah.
And so I think
doing it deliberately is important because you're so excited about this, you know, the plans, the creative side of this business you're launching, all of those things. And that's a really silent key to success, that if you don't have, the journey is so much harder. And as you said, you know, I think it's 4 in 5 businesses fail in
scary.
5 years. There's a really high number in the first 3 years. And it's for good reason. It's not easy. You know, if you start a business and it's all smooth sailing for the first 2-3 years, go buy a lotto ticket, because you seriously, like, it's so rare, right? Like it's your lucky day, because it's not about that. Like, you know, business is it's a journey. You'll grow personally, and, you know, you'll change paths, you'll change ideas, you'll have people challenge you, you're connecting with so many people, not everyone's going to think like you. Some days are amazing, some days are not amazing, and there'll come the times that are a bit hard and you're like, can I do this? You know, am I going to pull through this? And you will, you know, you definitely will. If you've got that belief in yourself, you'll always find a way.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a really great saying that you need to believe in yourself, because it's nobody else's job to do it. Asking people to do it for you is really powerful. I love that. But really, at the end of the day, it's because what you want to do is enable yourself to do it. You really want to empower yourself to do it, because it is your job. And that's not easy. I know. I'm going to put my hand up and say there've been times I've been really mean to Sam, and, you know, I think that's pretty normal, but it's even better to acknowledge it and go, I'm going to need people around me, because there are going to be times I'm going to fail at this. And I don't want the business or my passion or what I believe in to fail with my own self-belief. Yeah.
And have a look back at your past. And, you know, I've sort of learned along the way that not everyone has been as blessed to grow up in an environment that, like, self-belief was really, I just feel like part of the DNA, you know, I was fortunate with that. But I realized that's not the same for everyone. So have a realistic conversation with yourself and say, do I really believe in myself? Like, look at examples in the past and say, where have I shown that, you know, characteristic, and highlight it, and then be honest with yourself and say, well, is it, you know, do I need to do more work on it? And you always need to be doing more work on it, for sure. But there's definitely a point that it clicks, where it's just a different level of confidence in yourself. I think it's self-acceptance. It's knowing that you're not going to let yourself down. And that's a journey too.
Yeah. And I really love what you said before as well, that sometimes that person that you need, those people that you need, are actually not your family. Sometimes they're not even your friends. And, you know, I love hearing that you've had such an amazing upbringing. I'm going to put it out there. I love my family, but majority of my family made it difficult for me to do this, because they didn't want me to, partly because, you know, others have tried and failed. And there's that, it is a love thing. It's we don't want you to go through that thing, but it doesn't mean that that's your journey as well. And so I had to consciously make a decision to love what they were saying, but not believe what they were saying, because that wasn't my journey. And I think that's possibly the same for a lot of our listeners as well, is you might have someone, it may even be your husband or your wife, who is saying, look, Greg will put his hand up and say he wasn't supportive of me starting the business, but he said he let me do it because he figured I'd need to go on this journey and figure it out on my own. And he was, you know, in many ways, really surprised. And he's now on the journey with me. He now is just so pleased that I pushed ahead because he can now see that same vision. But sometimes you're the only one that sees it. Sometimes you're the only one that really feels it. And you've got to take that and be the one to lead it. And I love that so much. So
the other thing, I know it's only allowed one, but I'm going to say this. The other thing is really important because there are two things.
Okay.
Before you start, you need to face the worst outcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Be comfortable with it. So you need to look at what you're risking, what you're putting on the line, and actually say to yourself, am I okay if that's what happens?
Yeah.
Like, you really need to face that because you need to dissolve the fear. And the only way to dissolve fear is to face it.
Yep.
And so whether it be that the business doesn't work, so how much money am I going to lose?
Mm-hmm.
What will people think of me? Can I handle I don't think there's any shame in it, but people will put that on themselves. Like whatever it is that you're scared of, can I handle that? And if you can honestly say yes, then you are going to put yourself in a high percentage of success because you just eradicated the monkey that hangs around through the whole journey.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. So, one of the things that you and I both know is that running business is really full on, particularly when you're at the forefront and you're the driver. So, we've also got other aspects of life. And so, how do you maintain a balanced life while also, taking this now toddler of a business, which is still growing quickly and requires so much of your energy? How do you balance, how do you keep your life balanced?
I would definitely say I'm not a master of it, and I take a different approach to other people, and probably not everyone would agree with me, but you made a good analogy there of this toddler. I think, most mums with a newborn, that is pretty well their full commitment, right? Like it has to be, there's no choice until a certain age. And depending on how big your goal is, that your commitment needs to be in alignment to that goal. Our goals were really big. And so for me, I had an honest conversation with everyone around me, like that I cared about, and said, this is what I'm doing. And I'm going to honestly say that this is my number one priority for the next 3 to 5 years. And that means I could be away for some birthdays. That means I could be, because I knew the nature of the business, that means that I might not, be as available to be going out and doing fun things. Like I am a bit of a workaholic, I admit that, but I do it by choice. I never resent it. So I chose the path, and because I chose it, I've never woken up and resented the work I'm doing that day. Yeah. Or what I'm missing out on. And so I think the first thing is the importance is to know what you're choosing. So for me, do I have work-life, or did I have work-life balance? The answer is no. But in my mind, yes, I did. Like my choice of balance was 80-90% work, family, and then friends. And so I wasn't around for the normal catching up with friends stuff. I wasn't even here. I was out building the business. Yep. But I was really happy with that. So for me, my life was balanced. But if anyone else looked at it, they'd be like, all she's doing is working. Yep. But it's about choosing it and knowing what you're choosing and letting people know what you're doing. And I don't want to scare people. Not everyone has to have it at that percentage. I'm really passionate about what I do. I love business. It makes me really happy. And so for me to commit 80% of my time there, that's joy for me. So different for everyone.
So I really like that it's a very conscious decision for you. And I think there's this underlying feeling that it's not okay to be a workaholic. It's definitely been part of my journey, is that those around me don't understand that that's my happy place. Yeah. How do you then go about preventing, and I'm going to assume I know the answer here, I think, but I'd like to hear it from you. Yeah. How do you prevent burnout? Because that can be.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously I'm very passionate about wellness. So I'm always feeding my body at a nutritional level what it needs to perform. For me personally, I need 7 to 8 hours sleep, or 6 to 8. Anything under 6, I don't function very well the next day. I know that. So I have the discipline to give it to myself. So the core basics that keep me performing well, I'm really disciplined on. I pretty well start my morning the same every single day, unless I'm on the road traveling. And then I try to do it in the hybrid way that I can. Yep. So I have a few disciplines that keep me in that space. And that has served me well. And I think that it's almost an act of self-love. If you are choosing to give your body what it needs, you're saying, I honor myself, I honor my goals, I honor that we've got limited amount of days here from the day we're born. Why wouldn't we want to turn up every day with being able to produce the maximum amount of energy we can, get the most satisfaction out of what we're doing we can? And if we're not giving ourselves the basic building blocks, we're depriving ourselves of that, which is just silly.
Yeah, love that. So you said that you've got a bit of a routine that you go through and certain things that you do for your body. Can I ask you a little bit about that?
Yeah. So as soon as I wake up, I juice every morning. And so that's like the first thing. So, often it's a celery juice, or it might be like a carrot juice, carrot and apple juice, but that's the first thing to sort of do upon rising. Then I actually have our InnerOrigin boost essentials and greens. And then I actually go and meditate. I also, it's a bit personal, I don't mind, because I tell people I'm fine with it, but I do an enema often, times a week. And so I meditate while I do that. I don't recommend it for everyone. It's a very personal choice. I'm not giving recommendations here. Consult your doctor. But
so I feel there's a lot of TGA style.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cover myself.
This is my personal story. It's not about work. But yeah, that's a part of me. So for some people, it might be that they go for a walk or a run, or yoga. Me, it's the meditation side, and then I'm into my routine of showering and whatever. And for me, I exercise more at the back end of the day. It's not my highest priority. Getting my mind right and calm is my highest priority. And also at the end of each day, a little trick I was given a long time ago was to write down what I'd accomplished that day. So, people are always writing down their to-do list for the next day. Yeah. Yes, do that. But also write down what I accomplished that day, even if it was something silly, like, that doesn't seem like a big deal. Like I had a successful meeting, I had a great podcast with Sam, write it down, because then every day's got fulfillment in it when you close out the day.
Yep. Yeah, awesome. That's really great. And I do have a bit of a personal question from the meditation side of things here. If there are any people out there, I know lots of our listeners will totally get where I'm coming from with this. I've got a very busy mind, and I have, meditation's been one of those things I've tried multiple times over the years and failed miserably. Is it something that you found it just was an easy thing for you to do? It was a natural thing for you, or did you go through a process?
Yeah, I went through a process. Like I've now done it for a lot of years, but probably when I first started, I was in my mid-20s. I couldn't even do yoga. Like my mind was too active. I'd go to yoga and I was so bored. I had to I was just counting down for that class to finish and let me out of here. Like it was
I wear my watch so I can.
Right? It was not going fast enough for me, and my mind's racing a million miles an hour. And I really struggled with all of that. Yeah, I actually think it was really just a journey of self-development and reaching an inner peace. I think that what I realize now is that a lot of that noise or that busyness I was creating in my head was me avoiding myself.
Yeah.
Or it might have been anxiety about your day, your goals, like all of those things. But not being able to control my mind was, when I look back at it now, it was just showing me that I needed to grow a bit. But meditation could be different for everyone. Like I know people who could not lay still and meditate, but they'll go for a run and meditate, or that's meditation for them. They're moving their body and allowing those thoughts to come through. It's where they get their inspiration. So I don't think everyone needs to think about it as I have to lay still or sit still. For me, that's how I like to do it now. And I really set intentions going into it. I manifest through it. I'm a big believer in, and actually a business partner in Japan, I love the way he says this. Like the day he said it to me, I was like, oh, you've just summarized yes, what I've been practicing, but I've never put it into words like that. And he's like, achieve your future twice. You've got to see it in your dreams and then do it in reality. Yeah. And so you've got to achieve your goals twice. And I was like, that's so true. You've got to see them and feel them and then actually do
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. So you talked before about highs and lows and ups and downs and challenges and preparing for those mentally. Your business is going ahead in leaps and bounds, and you're doing some really amazing things, but can you share, have you had any bumps along the way? Have you?
Yeah.
Has it just been perfect for you? And if it has, don't answer that question.
No way. If anyone says that, I don't think
they're lying.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many challenges. Early on, we probably had a challenge that we grew too quick, if there's such a thing, but it is a problem. I'm not going to say it's it was probably the better problem to have, but still a massive problem. Our systems and our operations were not keeping up with the sales we'd created, and then working to try and keep people happy, but your system's not living up to that. So we really had a big journey then for the next 12 months of trying to play catch up with like our tech, our warehousing systems, our customer service. Like, because when you open, people are trained, but they're not, everyone's new. Your customers are new, but your team are new. You're new. Like, everything's new about this business, and everyone's learning this business's DNA along the way. Like, you're creating it and learning it like all at the same time. And so that was really, really, really challenging for us, along the way. We also did have a period of time where, and there was nothing done intentionally from anyone, but a supplier that was like a big part of our sales kind of went and created a very similar product, but cheaper quality, looked the same. Like, you could see it was from the same kind of, creation, put it out through other retail at a third of the price.
Yeah.
And instantly, like overnight, the sales on that just fell through the floor. And so we had a period for like a few months where our revenue just disappeared, like from nowhere, totally unexpected. We were going along smooth sailing. As I said, it was not intentional from any party, but it was the result that happened. And that put us in a spin and shock, and the hustle, the scramble, the quick thinking, the how do we solve this problem that came about from that. And that was never actually something we prepared for. We prepared for a lot of potential problems. So that wasn't one of them. And that really tested the team. And something that when we came through that, something that I saw in our team then that was so different. And when I say the team, like, could be our affiliates, but definitely the corporate team, was I could see they were then, and I can only say this by feeling it, right? You can show up to work and do your job, and you think you're doing your job, right? And then, but when a big test comes along from that, you go from doing your job to what I call being in the game. It's like, if you think of playing a sport and you're there for that hour of competing, and you're really in this tight game, you're in the game, right? Like, every interview is in the game.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to the team. A good percentage of the team chose to be really in the game. And a light bulb moment happened for me with that. And I hadn't even felt it through any other businesses that I'd done. Is I realized that to be an entrepreneur, from the moment you wake up to the moment your eyes shut at night, you've got to be in the game.
Yeah.
It's not a job. It's not all glossy. It is competitive. Like, it's in the game, and you've got to learn to enjoy that, because every day there's going to be little problems, there's going to be little wins, but it's not like turning up to play netball or something where it's all over in an hour and then you go back to training. This is competition, like intensity, all day, every day. And when we had that change in everyone, it just naturally happened. The change naturally happened. The team now is like unbreakable, and they can respond to anything. They're proactive at it, and they turn up. Everyone's in the game, and we all feel that difference. So it was a really blessing that came along, and it changed the way we turn up every day, and also the satisfaction we're getting out of it, because we're in it all the time.
Yeah, awesome. And it's so great when you see that happen. But I've got to say, I don't think it's necessarily an accidental thing. I really do believe that you create a culture in your team, and that's something that you've done, whether it's conscious or not. You've built a culture in your team where they really, I would say, that comes back to that passion that you're leading the vision, and they're absolutely sold on that vision that you have, and sharing that vision is, I'm going to hazard a guess here, has been pivotal to, the team stepping up when the time comes and going, we believe in this. We're going to keep moving forward because we believe in this. And that can go, if you're in direct selling and you've got, a team of people who are running their own businesses that you're leading, it's the same thing. It's about having that vision and that passion, and letting that be infectious, sharing it with others. Don't hold it in, actually sharing that. And one thing that I've noticed with you as well, Sally-Ann, is that you are so just open about it all. This is why I believe in this. And even even if I didn't care about it before, I care about it now because it's infectious and I know that I need to care about labeling. And I'm sitting here going, I should care more about this because clearly this is really important. So, you can see why that really, really matters. Now, it would be remiss of me to avoid any questions about social media, being that, essentially that's.
Yes.
So I will throw in a token question here. I've really been enjoying what we've been talking about though. So I was kind of like, oh, do we even need to go there? But I think we should just for a moment. So I would like to know, have you found social media to be a big part of your business and how have you capitalized on that, being that you have sort of started in digital times?
Yes. And you said, I love how open you are. So let's be open. I would have to say that it's not been our strength, which is probably why we've been aligned together, to talk about things sort of here forward. It's become a bigger strength for us over the last 6 months. We've had periods of it, being strength. We've done it internally. We've hired outsourced people. I have felt that we've never totally nailed it, would be the way I look at it. But I absolutely realize its incredible importance. And it's just been an area that actually, like, we probably haven't totally had the skill set in the team. And then we've brought in external, but it's very hard to get external to understand the DNA.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
So we've always been in this little, like, doing an okay job, but in this sort of no man's land space. Yeah. And now that we've really moved into what I feel is a much stronger performance in that area, I can see the confidence in our people so much higher, the excitement in that higher, like, especially with all these lockdowns and things happening through COVID, it's really shown how important it is that we are able to communicate ourselves and create all the same things that we would in an event, create that through our social media, our communications, our, how are we keeping people connected to the brand at an emotional level. And so it's a constant area of improvement for us. And I know you're the expert in it, but I would say it's absolutely vital, in today's world. But it does present a challenge for, I guess it presents a challenge for traditional direct selling companies, I feel, because where most of their marketing spend has been in commissions and supporting the field entirely. I think it also requires a little bit of a shift in the mindset. And I know I'm probably speaking to everyone out there of, like, distributors, consultants, advocates, whatever you want to call everyone in different companies. If the company says, we need to make a little leeway here so that we can be spending on social or spending on, like, the brand, that's a winning combination for everybody. And so things have to evolve a little bit so that there's the space for that to happen effectively for everyone. And so I think that requires everyone in the company community to see the benefit of it and everyone go, yeah, let's do that. Let's create the space, the resources and everything to do that properly.
Yeah, I love that. It's really great to hear that you're seeing how it marries together with corporate working with the field, because you see different elements of this. You see some companies where they go really, really hard, and then you see others where their attitude is, look, it's on the consultants to do it. It's on the field to do it. And I think that it's really beautiful when there's this, let's work together, yes, they're responsible for their business, but also we have a responsibility to help them get that brand out there so that it's much easier for them to do it. And so I really love hearing that. I think that's great.
Think as you said, it's a really changing time, because if you go back 10, 15 years ago, distributors or consultants would see that type of marketing as maybe competitive to them. They wouldn't see it as supportive to them.
I think that has changed a lot. I agree. I completely agree that that's something that probably even 5 years ago, a company would say, we're going to run some ads, and the field would panic, because that means that you're running ads to get people to bypass us and go to you. But once they understood that it was, no, we're doing this to support you or make it easier for you, it was like, oh, please go for it. Fantastic.
Yeah, correct.
But it is about that communication. I really love to hear that from you, because I think there's such honesty there that we're all learning. And, again, I'm going to put my hand up and say there's a reason I'm in this industry, and it's not because I know it all. It's because I dedicate the time to knowing it. And that is an everyday job. It's not, and I didn't wake up today and go, I instantly know exactly what's going to be happening on Facebook today and how to deal with it. It was, I woke up today and went, right, I know that I need to commit to learning this stuff so that I can be the best I can be at this. And you do that in your business with what you do so that I don't need to do it. And it's the same with me. I do it so others don't need to, like you. So it's just about, what do you need to wake up today and commit to learning and staying on top of? So,
and for everyone in the field, like listening, it's really important to know that, like, whatever's happening in corporate, they're doing for everyone to win. Like, it is always that intention, and there's so much business out there for everyone. So never feel threatened by seeing a company ad, brand for you, to build customer confidence. All of that is really important part of like a whole system, a whole recognition of brand that has to come together.
Yeah.
So don't ever feel threatened by that, because without it, the whole thing's not going to gel and work properly. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much more I could say on that. I think that's really great, though. You've summed that up beautifully. And I really want to jump to our final fun questions here, because these are probably, like, I love all of the conversation that we have, but I do love to hear people's answer to these. And so the first one is, we've been building an Accelerator book list. So I'd love to hear what book or books you might recommend that we could add to that list from Sally-Ann.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'd love to probably add a couple in there, because there's a couple that have really influenced me over the years. One back in my early 20s, and I kept it beside my bed, like in the bedside table, and I would open it, maybe once a day at that period of time, or less or more, it doesn't matter. You could open it any page. And it was called the 10 Keys to Inner Peace and Happiness by Wayne Dyer. And, it was big print. It was like not a hard read, but there were things in there that really helped to build the person I am today. It was at that kind of age where, like, maybe my business maturity was ahead of my emotional maturity, and things were like not totally in balance. And just, there were good practices in there that really have helped me, who I am today. And they helped me, we talked about that inner peace, really helped me to get there. And that book I really loved, and it was a big key for me at an early phase of life.
All right. Love that.
Really important. Many of you, I'm sure, have read it, but I continue to read it, like, over and over again, is Think and Grow Rich. And because, I'm sure people have been on here and said it before, but you just, in my opinion, can't beat it, in terms of it covers everything off of the person you need to become to achieve your dreams. And they don't have to be even financial dreams, but it covers off every aspect of being, of where you need to become. And what I also love about that book is the hidden message that's in that book. And it even says it at the front, like, you may have to read this a few times to find the hidden message. And the hidden message that came out for me was about vibration. And back when that book was published, that was not an acceptable word. So the publishers took it out. And that's why it was written, you've got to find this hidden message. And it really is like the missing link in the book. Everything's there at a technical level. But once you realize that that's the hidden message in the book, it's talking about, everything in there is about you working towards an elevated vibration where you are going to attract the results that you want. It's not sit on your desk and expect that they're just going to magically appear. No, not that at all. But it is about working on every part of your body to get to that point that, yes, things can appear more rapidly for you. You can get there with the support of more than yourself, with energy out there that's more than you. And once that penny drops, it's really powerful.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. All right. So we've got a couple of great books to add to our list here. Now, what about your favorite quote?
Oh, yeah, that's a really big one. Oh, can I have two?
You can have two. I'll give you two.
Okay. One, I only really came by it over the last 2 years, but the reason I wanted to share it's probably been out there for a long time. The reason I would share it is I heard it many times, but it only meant something to me 2 years ago. And the penny really dropped for me that is 100% the key to success. Like, there is, if you had to choose one thing, that's it. And I even covered it off at the start of this podcast. And it was, Jay-Z said, in an interview, how did you guys reach the level of success that you reached? And they said, oh, we did this really genius thing. We didn't quit. right? And when you think about it, it's like it's the simplest thing in the world at a literal sense, like genius thing. Or it's not that genius, like you don't quit.
Yeah.
But it's actually the thing that gets you there, because there's just so many opportunities to quit on your goals. And if you don't quit, winning is the only option.
Yeah.
And you probably remember at the start of this podcast, I said, never had I done it before InnerOrigin, where I went into something and I made a decision before I started it that quitting was not an option.
Yeah.
And I made that decision before I'd read that quote. It had obviously come through other learnings and I applied it. But when I heard it, it resonated. I was like, it actually is the key.
Yep.
Everything else comes after that. And the other quote that's really important to me is, not to fight the old, build the new. And that's what InnerOrigin was based on, because when I gave that example of like looking at that non-for-profit and everything, the amount of money poured into that was mind-blowing, but they weren't winning. They were like rallying, various things to try and get label, and so much money going in and really no progress.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why you don't have to fight things front on. It doesn't even have to be a fight. Like why not just create a business that's doing what people want? That was the graceful way around it. And when we innovate the new, life's much more graceful.
So good. I love that. All right. And I like, again, I feel like we could talk for another hour, but I'm very conscious of time. So I'm just going to ask you now, we got the question about superpowers. I love this one because it could go anywhere. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
If I could have a superpower?
Yes.
Well, I kind of feel like I have all the superpowers.
Well, that's it. This is where the answer is rather interesting when I ask people this question.
Yeah. So there's nothing I want for anymore. Like I've really realized that everything we already have, we have within us, and we have access to us. I believe in infinite intelligence. I believe you can access that at any time. I know that we are capable of so much, that we are limitless beings. And I know that now. And I know that we can call on any superpower. So, if I'm in a situation or a decision I've got to make, that's something where for some reason I'm not feeling like it's my natural strength, I will do a meditation. I will call in a person that, in my image, in my vision, that I feel possesses that superpower. I'll have a conversation with them in my meditation. I draw that energy in, or like, it's all fantasy probably in my mind, but I create it within.
Yeah.
And because we can do and be anything, and build confidence of that. There is a magical world out there, and we just have to embrace the magic.
Yeah, I love that. Really great. I was actually watching I will admit from time to time, to defog my brain, I might watch an episode of a series on Netflix. And I was watching one the other day that was a bit of a brain numbing one. And the one of the lead characters in this show, who's, quite a flip-floppy character, realized she doesn't have a lot of strength in herself, but she needs to call on some strength. So you see her sort of stop, and she does this little meditation, and someone says, "What are you doing?" She says, "I'm just channeling my sister, Abby, who's somebody else. I'm just channeling her to think about what she would do right now." And the next thing you know, she just stops, she gets up, she goes and gives the person a hug. And they went, yeah, that's exactly what I really need. It was just that, she didn't have it. She realized someone else would have known what to do in this situation. Yes. So she just stopped and thought, right, how do I channel what they might do right now? And that person was, next house over. So, it was a live person. She's just gone, right, now what would they do? I love that. So good.
Yeah. And that to me is like accessing that infinite intelligence, right? It's all around us, whether it's in something that we know, or it's, an energy around us or whatever, but we can call it in, we can have a conversation with it and embrace it. And we are the superpower.
So good. Well, look, I just want to say thank you so much, Sally-Ann, for joining me today. This has been such an inspiring chat, and I have loved hearing your story, and I can't wait to get in and have a bit more of a look at InnerOrigin. So we'll put all the links and everything in the show notes too, for anyone that wants to check this out. I did notice you guys have got those awesome, like even like oyster mushroom growing kits, which I love. So, and my kids love more. So, I'm going to get in and check all of that out. But thank you so much for taking this time out today. I really appreciate it.
Likewise, I really appreciate it. And thank you very much. And I look forward to hopefully doing more with all of you as well to improve that social media side of things. And I'll see if we can send something for the link as a bit of a bonus, like, gift for all your listeners and things.
Oh, wow. Right? Okay. So that sounds exciting.
So check that link. I'll send something through for you. All right.
Awesome. So check the show notes, guys. We'll put some information and possibly some goodies in there as well for you to go and check out the website. But thank you again. It's been great chatting. Really appreciate you.
Excellent. Bye. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week, and we will see you on the podcast again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.